In this video, we're going to cover 9 on-page SEO rules that you need to follow if you want to rank your website on the top of Google. So let's get started. I'm Tyler Stokes, and in this video, I want to share a checklist you can follow when you're building your pages on your website. Now, these are the 9 things that I make sure I review every time I publish a page online. And these rules have allowed me to rank for hundreds of keywords and receive thousands of daily visitors to my affiliate marketing websites. Bottom line, if you want to rank a website on Google, you need to implement these rules. Now, what I'm going to do is give you the list right away. And if you want to stick around for the whole video, I'm going to break down and explain these rules in greater detail. Now, again, these are the only things that I personally do for on-page SEO. So it's not complicated stuff, and you can totally do this as well. But remember, just because this stuff seems, easy and basic doesn't mean it's not important. You need proper on-page SEO in place in order to rank your website. Also, I want to say that there are always exceptions to these rules. So you're certainly going to find websites ranking that may not follow all these rules to the T, but the majority of ranking websites do follow, these rules to some degree. So please keep that in mind. Lastly, there are a few things that we aren't going to cover in this list, which, are considered important on-page SEO factors. And 2 notable ones are website speed and mobile-friendly pages. So you definitely want your pages to load quickly, and you want your website to be mobile-friendly, but both of these are important ranking factors. However, they're one-time fixes and not something you need to review every time you publish a piece of content. So check out my other tutorials, which will cover those topics. Here's your on-page SEO checklist. So these are the most important things to review when optimizing your website. So number 1 is your URL. Number 2, your title. Number 3, headline. Number 4, subheadline or subheadings. Number 5, content. Number 6, image alt tags. Number 7, internal links. Number 8, outbound links. And number 9 is a bonus rule. So the first rule and the most important on-page ranking factor is your URL, which is your website and web page's address. Now, let's start with quickly discussing your domain name and then your inner URL. So if you already have a domain name chosen and a website up and running, then you probably don't want to change it. However, understanding why your domain name is an important ranking factor can help you get a better grasp of how SEO works. So your domain name is one of the first terms or keywords that your website will probably want to rank for. So when Google and the other search engines come and scan your website, one of the first things they probably do is they read your website's domain name or your address on the web. So choosing a domain name, particularly for affiliate marketing, is very important. And I have a full tutorial on that, which I will link to in the description of this video. So here's a personal example. I have 2 websites, tylerstokes.com and affiliatemarketingthatworks.com. I chose the domain name affiliatemarketingthatworks.com for the site that contains all my guides and tutorials regarding affiliate marketing. And the reason is that when Google comes and reads my domain name, it understands right away that my website is about affiliate marketing. I chose not to use the domain tylerstokes.com for my affiliate marketing tutorials because, it's not relevant to affiliate marketing or not as relevant as the domain name affiliatemarketingthatworks.com. So, all things being equal, I get a bit of a head start using affiliatemarketingthatworks.com as my domain name because it contains the keyword affiliate marketing. Now, this does not mean that my domain tylerstokes.com would not be successful as a marketing website, as there are tons of marketers that use their personal brands to build amazing, online businesses. But it highlights an example where you can sometimes incorporate a keyword into your domain name and get a slight initial advantage in rankings. Now, the second part of this on-page SEO rule has to do with your inner URLs. This refers to the way you name your web pages. So you want to give Google and the other search engines all the information that they need to understand what a particular page is about. Therefore, you want to include your keywords in your inner URL. So when I create a page on my website for this topic, on-page SEO, here is what I will name it: affiliatemarketingthatworks.com/on-page SEO. So when Google comes and reads this page, it knows exactly what the topic is about. It's a page about on-page SEO on a website that discusses affiliate marketing, and that's exactly what I'm after. So when you're building your URLs, make sure that Google can easily read them, understand them, and that way they'll know exactly what your page is about. And two other really quick tips here for this particular rule is that shorter URLs are generally better, and avoid using dates or other terms that may not be valid in the future. And the reason is that URLs can be a bit of a pain to change once you build out a page on a specific URL. So for example, if you create a page about the best electric shavers in 2021, and you create the URL as electricshaverwebsite.com/best electric shavers in 2021, what do you think happens to that page in 2022 or 2023? Unfortunately, it is no longer as relevant. So, a super easy fix is simply avoid using dates in your URLs. Now, your title is an important ranking factor for Google. When we say titles, we are referring to the title of the page which is listed in the Google search result. So if you're working in WordPress or some other content management system, the title is usually edited in some type of SEO plugin or SEO area in your editor. And this is where you can put in your keywords, dates, and create a clickable title to entice people to click on your listing that's in the Google search results. So titles are not seen on your actual web page apart from the source code and on tabs in the internet browsers. So the title is primarily seen when a web page gets listed on Google and other search engines. Now, optimizing your titles can have a huge impact on your rankings. You'll want to include your main keyword near the beginning of your title and make it enticing to click, and make sure it is the appropriate length. So continuing with the examples we've already used in this video, here are two title examples for a page about on-page SEO and a page about the best electric shavers. So on-page SEO for affiliate marketing, -9 rules for ranking, and the best electric shavers in 2021, we tested every shaver. So both of these titles have the main keyword near the beginning, and a searcher is going to be attracted to click them, and they are both the proper length. Headlines are on your actual web page. So in terms of code that's on your website, the main headline of the page is usually contained in an H1 tag. So they aren't the same as titles for describing these on-page SEO rules. So there's always a bit of confusion between titles and headlines, especially when working in WordPress. So it's important to understand the difference. So the headline is another chance to tell Google what your page is about. So think of it as, the third or fourth layer. Now, full disclosure, I don't personally know this 100%, but it's probably a really good guess that Google scans and reads your domain name first, then it reads your page's URL, then it reads your title, then it reads your headline. So headlines are very important to optimize. So it's recommended to include your main keyword or a keyword variation in your headline and entice the reader to continue reading and scrolling down your page. So some headlines for the examples we've been using are the on-page SEO checklist I use to rank my affiliate marketing websites, and an insider's list of the top 5 electric shavers of the year. So both of these are good headlines. They're optimized with keywords, and they entice people to stay on the page and scroll down and read the entire article. Subheadlines or subheadings are basically headlines given to a subsection of a piece of your content. So in terms of coding, I usually put them in an H3 tag. So they should be optimized to include keyword variations or secondary keywords that make sense with your article. But don't overdo it. Don't repeat your main keyword in all your sub headlines. So again, sticking to the examples that we've been using in this video, here's a sub headline that I've used in my article. The on-page SEO factors I consider when publishing content. So you can see that in this subheading, the keyword on-page SEO factors is used. So that's a longer keyword from the main keyword on-page SEO, which is searched a lot as well. So this is a good example of optimizing a sub-headline. Now, please keep this in mind. As I just mentioned, you don't want to stuff your keywords in every single sub-headline on the page. I believe I've only actually included one variation of the main keyword on-page SEO in a sub-headline on my article, which is a relatively long article, and that's probably all that I will need. So don't overdo it with keywords in your subheadings. For content, we're referring to the text on your web page. So as a general rule, you simply want to naturally write the content of your article without over-optimizing. So basically, you don't want to try and manipulate anything with the content. At this point, Google has read your domain name, read your URL, title, headline. So, it knows exactly what your article is about. So you don't want to stuff keywords in your content because you run the risk of getting an over-optimization penalty. All you want to do is provide a well-written article about the topic of your page, and that's really it. So read over the article, make sure that it sounds natural, and if you find yourself repeating your keyword over and over in the text, then you should probably clean that up. So here's a quick example of keyword stuffing directly from Google. Quote, "We sell custom cigar humidors. Our custom cigar humidors are handmade. If you're thinking of buying a custom cigar humidor, please contact our custom cigar humidor specialist at custom.cigar.humidor@example.com. Quote. So that clearly does not sound natural. So this is where I would, also drive home the point and give you some advice that will probably save you a lot of time. Don't try and get the perfect keyword density on your page. Don't worry, about tools that scan your text and give you, the perfect keyword ratios. Don't stress and worry and try and get the perfect amount of keywords in your text. Just create an article that reads naturally, and don't stress about it. The next few rules are much less important in my personal opinion. So number 6 is image alt tags. So I would advise you follow the Google guidelines for image alt tags, especially if you feel your website would attract a lot of visitors who are searching for images. So as a super short explanation, you basically want to name the images accurately when you upload them to your website, and you want to provide a short description in the alt tag. So the Dalmatian puppy example I have on the screen here, it's actually directly from Google's guidelines. But just to share some personal results, I've had an affiliate marketing website which at its peak was getting 20,000 daily visitors, and I did not put any image alt tags in my images. So, I'm just sharing that to let you know that, by adding alt tags, it's probably not going to suddenly, boost your SEO rankings and traffic, unless your content really focuses on images. Again, the best advice is just to follow Google's guideline for images and to not stress about this rule too much. So I've included a link to Google's image SEO best practices, and I'll include that in the description of this video. The next 2 rules have to do with the links on your web pages. So number 7 and 8 are internal links and outbound links. So internal links refer to the links that go from one of your website pages to another one of your website pages. So pages on the same website linking. Internal links can benefit a user's experience who's reading your page, and they can help Google find and understand what pages might be connected or what pages might be more important than others on your website. So for example, if you have an article on the best electric shavers of the year and you mention a particular model, you can link to that specific electric shavers review page. So, a user might want to actually read the full review, and Google, now understands that those pages are related in some way. Another example is if you have articles about, how to use electric shavers and the differences between them, you might want to link to your top 10 list from these how-to guides to tell Google that that top 10 list page is important, and that's probably your money-making page. So the other on-page linking rule involves outbound links. So you should probably have outbound links on some of your pages. And an outbound link is a link on your web page that links to someone else's website. Now, you're going to get mixed messaging when it comes to whether outbound links help you rank better on Google. Certainly, if you have a keyword in your title, it most definitely helps you rank for that term. And that's obvious. And there's enough valid information and testing to prove that. But from what I've seen, it's harder to claim that outbound links on all your pages are a must in order to rank on Google. But, relevant outbound links, they help improve a user's experience, which is important. And an obvious example is when, your page makes some type of claim. If you link to a study, for example, which backs up what your page is talking about, that can help the website visitor trust you. So if you think your website visitor would appreciate an outbound link, just use one, include it on your page. And it's also worth mentioning here that outbound links are in your complete control. Therefore, only link to reputable websites. When Google scans and evaluates your outbound links, if they're all good and they're going to respectable websites that are relevant to your website, that's a good sign. But if you're linking to a questionable website, which might not be in Google's good books, you certainly don't want to do that. You don't want to associate your website with sites that might not be in Google's good books, so to speak. Lastly, we have the bonus rule. So I called this a bonus rule because it's not really a fundamental on-page SEO rule, in my opinion. All the other rules that we've covered are really all you need to do to rank. This bonus rule is more of a consideration that changes from time to time. So I'm talking about featured snippets. So in the past, there have been specific things that you can do to your web pages, which can actually help you get into the featured snippets. But, these tend to change from time to time. Google sort of changes, what's included in featured snippets and so on. So once you have sort of mastered all the other steps and you have your pages up on Google and they're starting to rank, you might want to search for an updated guide on featured snippets. And you might be able to find some relevant and up-to-date suggestions that can help you climb further up the first page of Google. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope that you found this useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to this channel. I am going to be releasing more tutorials like this every single week. And as I say in almost every SEO tutorial that I make, keep it simple. Follow this basic on-page SEO checklist when building your pages and keep publishing content and building links. Now, obviously, there are a few other things which you need to get right. You need to build a business around a profitable topic. You need to do proper keyword research, link building, and so on. So if you're interested in learning how I personally build all my successful affiliate marketing websites, then grab a copy of my 5-step blueprint, and you can find a link to that in the description of this video. If you're not interested in downloading that blueprint right now, I'll put up some related videos on the screen, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.